One Piece chapter 1031 is out, and man did I enjoy reading this chapter. Especially compared to the last one, this one just had a really good feel as you went through each page. We start off with a clean clear spread of all the first mates of all the top known pirate crews. Now at first I thought this was an order of strength between like all the crews, but I would definitely put Marco above Killers, so I'm gonna go ahead and assume it's not. But this does give us more confirmation that Shiryu is the first mate of the Blackbeard Pirates and that it really has nothing to do with Jesus Burgess, even though he was a very early member. I also like that we have Zoro in the front looking at Enma, and then we have Bebo kind of just chilling behind him, also admiring it. The chapter starts with Law and Kid wheezing after they just both used their awakenings on Big Mom. I really like how Law is immediately analyzing this power and trying to figure out like all the ins and outs of it, and Kid's just like, nah, don't do that. But while it seems like Law understands Kid's power, it doesn't seem like Kid really gets insight on how Law's power works. And that's probably one of the reasons why Kid's like, nah, don't look into my power too much. I'm not gonna give you more answers, because Kid probably has no idea what Law did, and so he's at a huge disadvantage there. And of course Big Mom gets back up. That was never going to stop her, but something happened here that almost made me panic. Big Mom says life or Oshiruko, and at first I thought she was going into another hunger pain. She starts ripping out souls of all the beast pirates near her, and she uses those souls and all the steel girders that Kid kind of threw at her and turns them all into homies. And this is kind of the part where I was super relieved, because then she takes out her own soul and she uses it to empower herself. And this was like, okay, she's not insane right now. She still has consciousness, she still knows what she's doing, and she's still like communicating normally. It also immediately made me think of Moria's power, because she takes her soul, and what it seems like she does is she puts it back inside herself so that one, makes her bigger, and two, gives her more power and stature. You see her eyes start emitting this ominous aura. You see like kind of the background behind her getting really dark and shaded, so it seems like she's in a really amped up power mode. She also mentions that she hasn't felt pain in a very long time, so that gives Kid and Law a really big feat of being able to actually do damage against Big Mom. Now again, I think a lot of this sticks to Law and his crew ability. I think that really makes or breaks how Big Mom's Iron Balloon durability works, and I don't think they would have done damage without Law doing that first. Now Big Mom acknowledges Luffy, Law, and Kid's attack on the throne, and it seems like she enters some kind of serious state here. And what I mean by that is that it seems like we might not be seeing Big Mimir. We might actually see some cool Big Mom stuff, which I'm really excited for. Now Law and Kid seem to be ready to go at it again, but if we go by last chapter, they were supposed to be out of energy after these awakenings. Those were supposed to be their last moves, and after that they shouldn't have anything left. And if we recall the fight between Doflamingo and Law does get to a point where he can't even make rooms anymore. So I'm wondering what they can do now that they've used their awakenings, that they're supposed to be at the brink. They're supposed to be at the edge of their power and the edge of their energy. We cut back to Apoo and Drake in the Awado chamber, and it looks like Drake just straight up refused Apoo's offer and starts fighting. Now this makes the most sense considering Drake's character, but I would have assumed he would have left instead of trying to fight, because I figured the numbers would have immediately attacked if he attacked Apoo. Instead, they kind of just seem to be chilling there. We also get more insight on how Apoo's power works. Apparently it's not just the enemy being able to hear the attack, but Apoo has to be looking at them, so it requires sight and vision for the attack to fully connect. Now I feel like initially I thought that characters shouldn't be able to dodge him that easily anyway, but most of these characters move faster than the speed of sound, so it kind of makes sense that they can move around it. In the middle of Apoo and Drake clashing, Yamato charges through, still trying to get to the ammo room. While she acknowledges the situation, she doesn't take the time to stop and really go through it, because she's obviously got a mission to do. Both Apoo and Drake let it be known that they're no longer on Kaido's side. This still doesn't stop her, but it keeps her from taking out Drake, even though they still kind of clash at some point because Drake was in the way. We also have Fuga, who immediately starts attacking Yamato for what reason? I'm not entirely sure. It doesn't even seem like Apoo knows what's happening. It just seems like Fuga goes into a rage and starts chasing after Yamato. And since Apoo's plan revolves around having somebody on his side, he's going to try and get Yamato now. So he grabs the numbers and he starts chasing her, which causes Drake to chase him. Now I'm not entirely sure of how Apu controls the numbers. I believe the idea is that he uses sound to kind of command them, but it seems like he doesn't have any full control over what they do. It just seems that they're in league with him, but not necessarily under him. We then jump to the second floor where we have CP0 chasing down Robin. Now of course we knew this was going to happen, we knew where they were headed when they started moving. However, we get some much needed insight on the strength of these characters. Now, Robin herself notes that people with the mask in CP0 are among the elites. They're among the really strong of that group. And even the fodders say that these people are really strong. Now, obviously, Oda puts this in there to give us an idea of the character's strength without having them really fight. And we've been asking for a while now, how strong are these people? Are they just foot soldiers with high rankings? You know, are they like Spandam, who's part of CP0 but doesn't necessarily fight, instead they gather intelligence? No, these people are really strong apparently. And it seems like one is using Zoro to catch up to Brook and Robin. Now we don't get to see what happens there, but I honestly don't think Brook holds them off. I think something else is going to happen here. Either Robin's going to get saved, or a third party will be stepping in to take on CP0. We then cut to the last part of the chapter, which covers Sanji. And we start off in a really weird spot because we get here and there are a bunch of women attacking Sanji for apparently beating up one of the geishas. Based off Sanji's recollection, he doesn't remember what happened. He just knows he ran up to her and at some point she was bleeding and terrified. Now my first thought on this is that Sanji didn't actually hit the geisha. Now I understand that we are giving this juxtaposition of Sanji might be turning into a cold monster, which may be a good thing, which may be a bad thing. Particularly for this fight, it'd probably be a good thing because that means he can fight the people that are attacking his friends. But I think the point of this chapter in this section for Sanji is to show that he isn't going to change. He crushes his Germa suit. He mentions that he doesn't know what Luffy wants in his crew, and he's not entirely sure what the answer is, but he's not going to lose any more of himself. And I think that Sanji starting to hate women would be him losing more of himself. As much of a trait as I know personally I dislike it, and I think there are a lot of others that aren't too fond of Sanji's trait like this because it keeps him from protecting his friends, I think that doing drastic changes to Sanji would be out of character. I don't see him all of a sudden becoming this relentless, soulless, fighting machine. If Oda did manage to have Sanji actually hit this geisha and have Sanji turning into this cold, unfeeling monster, I would actually like that as part of the story. Now, I don't know if I'd be happy with him staying that way. I think eventually Chopper would figure out a way to bring his emotions back. But I think that actually would be a good development for this fight. I think he needs this for this particular fight, and then Chopper can fix him after, and he can keep his argumentations without necessarily losing his emotions. And now that he's completely destroyed the raid suit, it appears that he's going to be keeping those argumentations. Originally I had the idea that Chopper may do something to reverse it, he may just use the raid suit only, but he destroys raid suit completely, so unless they build him a new one, it seems like he's going to be using the argumentations instead. And I really like the inner monologue Sanji has about this whole situation because he realizes that his human side, his emotions, keep him from being able to do what he needs to do. And he sees the benefits of being kind of like a cold, unfeeling monster. He's like, okay, I would be able to take apart even Queen right now if I was giving myself to this cold, unfeeling side. And the thing that's got him thinking so much about this is that he's thinking about what Luffy needs. He's like, what does the Pirate King need that I can be? And it makes me think of like Robin and Chopper when they say they will be monsters and demons as long as it gets Luffy to his goal. Now at the end of the day, Luffy is not going to accept Sanji for anything other than Sanji. He is not going to accept a cold, unfeeling monster in Sanji's place. I think we make that really clear when Judge is listing off all Sanji's traits and Luffy says those are such good things about him. Luffy cares about how Sanji is and he doesn't want him to change, so I think we're going to keep the Sanji we know. We also get dialogue with Zoro at the end of the chapter that kind of reconfirms that because Sanji calls Zoro on a Denden Mushi and basically says, at the end of this, once we've won, if I'm not the same person, take me out. And I also really like this moment because it shows the connection between Zoro and Sanji that, one, I love to see, but two, often gets overlooked for the entire Zoro versus Sanji debate. Basically, Zoro's immediately like, yeah, I got you. If you need me to take you out, I will do it. But you better not die on me. And now I have something to look forward to, so I expect to see you after this fight. It's such a good companion moment. It's something that these two won't discuss with anyone outside of these two, and I think that just makes it really fantastic. The chapter ends with Sanji using his moves to attack Queen again, and this one seems like it does a bit more damage. Kind of like Wadazume, it does complete fire damage to the outside of the body. So we'll see how tough Queen's exterior is. Maybe this didn't do as much as we think, but it looks really impressive. And it's also nice to have this on the other side with King using his fire abilities. I think this is kind of like a parallel foreshadowing by Oda, because we can see King using his fire abilities, we see Sanji using his fire abilities, and we know there are hints to Sanji being a Lunarian and King being a Lunarian, so I think there is something to connect here. Overall, love the chapter, thought it was fantastic. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below. There'll be a poll in the description as well. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.